Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today I have another video for you guys. This is another one that was requested called Why Sakura Haruno is Not Weak. Now guys, as always, just like how this video was requested, if you have your own video you want me to watch, just let me know about it in the comment section down below. So, when it comes to the character of Sakura Haruno, now personally, I don't think anyone actually thinks that she's weak. Well, I'm sure there are some people, but I think most people do acknowledge that she's not, you know, weak. Like, she's by far not the weakest character in the series. I just think that considering the fact that she's supposed to be a main character, and considering she's paired with characters like Naruto and Sasuke and Kakashi, I just think that compared to them, she comes off as weak. I would say she's by far the weakest person in Team 7, I will say that, but no, I don't think she's weak, especially when you compare her to other characters. And also, I think that Kishimoto did kind of make the mistake of not really giving her as many fights in Shippuden. In part 1, she was basically worthless, but in part 2, she did start to do something at the beginning, but then later on, she just really didn't do anything, and it's kind of, I guess you could say, attributes to why people say that she's weak. And I just personally, again, I never once thought she was weak. All you have to do is read the series and you can think that. It's just, again, like, there are certain things that attribute to why people think she's weak, and it's mostly, I will say, due to Kishimoto's part as a writer, because he, like I said, he doesn't really put her in many fights, and usually when he does, he usually has her paired up against characters that are either incredibly broken, you know, they have these hacks abilities, or they're just overwhelmingly strong, and because of that she comes off as being weak. But anyway, let's get to the video.
For a long time, Sakura has been a very disliked character by the Naruto fandom, and often this awkward hatred for Sakura has somewhat poisoned the opinion of her more legitimate showings in the Naruto Shippuden series. The main thing I personally see when debating Sakura's strength is when logical arguments about her powers are met with this weird spastic hate boner that is hell-bent on downplaying Sakura to legitimize people's ill feelings about her in any way they can, calling her a cunt, useless, etc, etc. It's almost a meme at this point. And while I agree that Sakura's character personally could have been handled better, such as Kishimoto trying too hard to make Sakura relatable to like a normal girl, and perhaps making her more fictitious like Naruto and Sasuke personality-wise, her powers and feats still stand. So let's do this. Why Sakura Haruno, or Uchiha, is without a doubt not weak. The main problem Sakura faces when being power scaled is the power gap between her and the other main characters. So even when giving an objective claim of her power, it's always met with, but so-and-so did this, XD, like... However, that's not the point of this discussion.
Yeah, that's not the point. It's like, yeah, we get it, Naruto and Sasuke comparatively are insane, but that doesn't take away from her accomplishments. It's just that, again, compared to these two, she just doesn't seem as impressive, but that doesn't, again, take away from what she can accomplish.
The point here is to prove Sakura is without a doubt powerful, and more importantly, impressive. To me, the main things that make Sakura impressive is that she's pretty much the only normal ninja besides Rock Lee to actually achieve massive powers from the original, like, Konoha 11. For example, you have Naruto, who is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, and Uzumaki, son of the 4th Hokage, and reincarnation of Ashura Hatsuki, destined to become powerful and fight Sasuke, and Uchiha from a powerful bloodline that includes Fugaku and Itachi Uchiha, while being the reincarnation of Indra Otsutsuki, and 2 also being destined for power, with even the other classmates of Sakura like Shikamaru, Choji, Ino, Neji, Hinata, Kiba, and even Shino, all coming from prestigious clans with unique and powerful jutsu passed down to each of them, along with usually some perks like Kekkei Genkai, or physical traits to enhance combat abilities like intelligence and stature. But what does Sakura have? Sakura doesn't come from any notable shinobi or clans with any impressive abilities, and has to basically start from the bottom of the barrel like Rock Lee or even Tenten, which is why, in my opinion, her powers are far more impressive when they're displayed than people give her credit for. This genetic drawback also explains why she's not really impressive in part 1 of Naruto as a whole, although despite this, she still shows high levels of intelligence that allowed her to be grouped in with the elite of Konoha when she broke a genjutsu that swept the entire Chunin exams arena. as well as Sakura, despite having no notable bloodline, being able to swap tin with and dual KO or knock out Ino, who comes from the Yamanaka clan, without any special parental training or guidance of her own. This was also accompanied by Sakura adapting to Ino's mind transfer jutsu and literally creating a second mind within herself to counter it, which in theory should be actually impossible for at least 99% of shinobi, let alone Sakura as a genin. It's clear that her potential is still quite high, and she has the quirks to learn powerful jutsu and become quite impressive. Chakra control is also prominently displayed when she completely outdoes the prodigies Sasuke, Uchiha, and Naruto Uzumaki with almost no effort during the tree climbing exercise in the Land of Waves.
The thing about that in particular is this feat is that it never really gets expounded upon, because I think we can all admit that later on Naruto and Sasuke kind of got better at chakra control than even she did, which again you could mostly attribute to Kishimoto's writing, kind of forgetting about her and choosing to focus mostly on these two.
Tree climbing exercise in the Land of Waves. Sakura, after training with Tsunade, displays massive strength, enough strength to make both Kakashi and base Naruto post-Jiraiya training look like dorks in comparison, and later revealing with the ability to heal people. She's also capable of fighting a beyond Kage level Sasori of the Akatsuki along with Lady Chiyo, in which Sakura one-shots his initial puppet body and quickly develops an antidote for his poisons, and starts adapting to Sasori's third Kazekage puppet completely on her own, in which Chiyo praises her. Sakura's dedication and Chiyo's words then lead Sasori to mentally giving up and allowing himself to be killed. This in itself is a highlight to Sakura's powers, as she just did a fantastic job against a Kage level fighter. But did you know that Sakura was actually weakened severely during her fight with Sasori? Many people don't know this, but Tsunade's training wasn't worse than say Jiraiya's or Orochimaru's. It simply took more time. This is shown during the Fourth Great Ninja War, but before we go into that, we need to explain what Tsunade did for Sakura. During all of Shippuden until the big ninja art creation rebirth strength of 100 technique reveal, or 100 healings as I'm going to call it, she was heavily suppressed. Sakura was spending the last 3 years of her life with an abysmal amount of chakra due to the fact that she had to concentrate and flood almost all of her chakra into her 100 healings dam. Sometimes it was so much chakra that Sakura would struggle to simply take long walks or exercise without collapsing of exhaustion. She eventually found a method to pool a small portion of her chakra into a separate dam she can use normally, which is what allowed her to, say, one-shot opponents that gave Ino or Choji trouble, or taking on Sasori himself. So when the day finally came and a diamond appeared on her forehead, she was no longer hindered by massive chakra drain constantly holding her back. This is why, even without activating the 100 healings jutsu, her power skyrocketed the second it appeared. With Tsunade's training complete, she's now capable of joining Naruto and Sasuke, and punches the ground so hard it obliterates hundreds of Jubi clones and creates an explosion easily worth kilotons of force without even breaking a sweat. Hashirama Senju, the first Hokage, then goes on to say that Sakura's strength might even surpass Tsunade's. Although it's unsure how much Hashirama knows about Tsunade, it should be noted that Kishimoto did write this in here for a reason, as I doubt toddler Tsunade could do what Sakura just did. And Sakura goes further onto this point, saying her 100 healings chakra is not at all wasted on preserving her appearance, so she would logically have more of it. This means at the very least, Sakura is somewhat relative to Tsunade, so it's very clear that they both have equal amounts, if not Sakura having more in 100 healing state, while Tsunade would have more in her base amounts of chakra. This means without a doubt that the second Sakura was no longer hindered, she spiked straight to Kage level and possibly even Sannin level, proving her training was far more potent than Jiraiya's or Orochimaru's could ever hope for. This is also just in base that she reaches Sannin level. With the Byakugo no Jutsu, she perhaps even surpasses or rivals more so the Sage levels, as Sage mode is simply a collection and infusion of nature energy for a few minutes, whereas 100 healings is straight up 3 years of chakra collection. So it's possible Sakura with her Sannin level base, at least in strength and chakra, now has an almost Sage mode equivalent, give or take, amp on top of that lets her regenerate almost endlessly. To power scale this, we obviously have to look at Tsunade. Tsunade with the completed Byakugo training was capable of hitting so hard that it was capable of smashing through Madara's Susanoo numerous times. And while this isn't his completed Susanoo, this is still seriously impressive. The reason is that this same Susanoo gets hit with a Hirodora, with the initial impact not even breaking until it explodes, or at least lore implies. As a reminder, even a suppressed Hirodora, not intended to kill, was enough to shake an entire island and obliterate forest in one-shot Kisame. If this island-shaking attack doesn't even kill a base Kisame, then there's no way a suppressed Hirodora is breaking through Madara Susanoo if it's not all out. Tsunade and Sakura possibly have this nigh Hirodora level attack potency also makes sense when you consider a lot of scaling. Like, for example, Deidara, who had enough chakra to create bombs capable of creating at least 1 kiloton to 1 megaton's worth of TNT to wipe out large villages and towns, and Gaara's sand was so durable that could tank this completely, whereas Gaara's sand that could handle kilotons or megatons of force from Deidara could not handle Madara's Susanoo. The same Susanoo Tsunade was shown being able to kick around and break numerous times. It also makes sense that very high up shinobi would have this much chakra reserve when looking at it from a lore and scaling perspective. I'm not saying Sakura would obliterate a town or a city if she punched the ground. I'm arguing that her fist holds that much force and attack potency. It's similar to arguing that Naruto and Sasuke's Rasengan or Chidori have high attack potency, but don't say destroy a lot when they damage something. Like, even like sticks past Naruto's Rasengan, only creating a little dent in the ground. Yet they're supposed to be able to obliterate mountains, if not far, far more. With this scaling, Sakura's punches easily surpass even many forms of nuclear bombs, obviously without the nuclear radiation, like the Little Boy, which only delivered about 21 kilotons compared to Sakura's possibly hundreds of kilotons to megatons of force required to destroy towns. This is also accompanied by the fact that Madara could casually tank massive Rasengans with just his Susanoo's ribcage, massive Rasengans being stated to have the force to carve away mountains in the data books, although this is talking about Sage Jiraiya. The massive Rasengan is learned by base Naruto if he focuses all his chakra into the attack. And with Tsunade straight up cracking and knocking down an incomplete Susanoo, one way stronger than the ribcage, and with 2 massive chunks of Susanoo straight up about to cut her in half while she's doing it. This would explain why Kaguya Otsutsuki could feel the brunt of Sakura's punch and one of her horns snapping in two, Kaguya being all of the bijous absorbed and then some. You can claim the feat was plot-induced stupidity, since lore-wise it doesn't make sense. However, it does coincide with some of her other feats like dodging Kaguya's arms that even Sasuke and Naruto thought were fast, and it's obviously Kishimoto trying to make Sakura relevant. Databook and lore also seem to be dead set on Sakura rivaling Sasuke and Naruto when they performed the triple summoning, with heroes in the third Hokage stating it's just like the 3 Sannin.
I think we can all maybe agree that I don't think she was up there yet. No, I don't think she was up there. I'm sorry, but KCM Naruto and EMS Sasuke were just. The thing is, Kishimoto just made them way too ridiculous, way too stupid when it comes to strength and their insane abilities, especially Naruto when it comes to just the insane raw power that he has. I don't think that's the case. Like, the amount of chakra that the Nine Tails had was just, it was too much. I mean, remember, just 1/2 of the Nine Tails was enough to combat 7-tailed beasts. Now, granted, you could argue that maybe the tailed beasts weren't as powerful because they were under the control of someone else, and that someone else was never really a Jinchuriki themselves. So you could argue that they weren't really used to fighting with the tailed beast's chakra. So yeah, you could say that, but still, the fact that half of Kurama's chakra was even able to knock away 7-tailed beasts in the first place is just insane in and of itself. I think that no, she's impressive, and you saw everything that he talked about. It is impressive, but I don't think it's as impressive as what KCM Naruto can do and even EMS Sasuke could do. I think that Kishimoto at that point just made them so ridiculously strong that, I'm sorry, even if Kishimoto is saying this, there's really no evidence to kind of back it up. Again, that's just my opinion. Maybe you guys are different on that.
It should be very clear that Sakura is a force to be reckoned with in just the war arc, possibly rivaling or surpassing Sannin level, along with her insane healing abilities that saved the lives of many of the main cast. If she wasn't around, Naruto and the others would have died a long time ago. However, I fully believe that she surpasses that concept during the last era as it becomes more of a prevalent member. In the last, she's shown taking on like Toneri's puppets that even base Naruto got dodged by sometimes, and was able to take out a powerful Toneri puppet like the Gatekeeper, although the main arguments she's more than likely surpassed her Sannin counterpart is when she fights Kido. Kido from the Sakura novel is an elite member of the Anbu Black Ops and hosts a drug known as the Tailed Beast drugs. His subordinates, even without the most powerful variant of the drug, have Jonin levels of chakra, in the words of Sai, with the most weakest strain of this drug being able to amplify their Jonin levels of chakra by 2 times instantly. However, Kido doesn't simply get a rough bijou aura like the others or a few tails, he gets a full pseudo 9-tailed cloak, capable of fully regenerating, multiplying his power several magnitudes over, and being able to launch bijou bombs that are over a meter in diameter and size. This is important when you realize that 4-tailed version 2 Naruto launched bijou bombs slightly larger than his head, which is nowhere near a meter in size. Kido also launches these attacks almost casually, with Sakura being able to take an attack from one and dodge numerous of his other lightning style attacks without even activating the 100 healings technique. To get through Kido's insane armor, Sakura uses 100 healings and starts hitting him in the same spot repeatedly, over and over again, and while she gets smacked across the forest and stabbed by Kido's tails, with Kido thinking she's doing absolutely nothing. But in fact, Sakura's been hitting Kido extremely hard while healing him, and by causing his cells to mass divide and heal beyond their biological limit, it kills his cells and completely negates his regeneration abilities. Then she slams him so hard that it shakes the entire forest, and the sound of the forest can be heard for basically an entire Kido backstory. The fact that Sakura broke him beyond his regen limits is insane when you realize that Tsunade had an entire life of battle alongside being cut in half, stabbed numerous times by Madara, and regenerating without much side effects. Sakura can also do this. And of course, in Boruto, we have Shin Uchiha, a guy completely coated in Sharingan and Mangekyo Sharingan, get completely blitzed and one-shotted by Sakura, the same Shin who was just roughing up a suppressed Sasuke and rusty Naruto, completely one-shotted him. Sasuke then boasts that Sakura will probably continue to beat his ass and solo his hideout before they get there, and if Sasuke saying it isn't enough, even if you don't like her character, I hope this video convinced you and that she is not weak by any means.
No.
Thanks for watching.
Okay, so there's the video. So yeah, look, he said it himself. Sakura's not weak. She never was. At least not in part 1, I agree. Although she does have some feats that just, again, I this is mostly due to Kishimoto's writing when it comes to Sakura. It's just that he does give her some pretty impressive feats. The only problem is they do get overshadowed by other characters' abilities, especially in the war arc. You know, he even pointed out some pretty impressive feats that she did in the war arc, but then, you know, Naruto and Sasuke come in and the things they do just completely overshadow her abilities, and it's just, it does kind of suck. But Kishimoto did make the decision to focus on those two when it comes to the writing specifically, and unfortunately when a writer chooses to focus on specific characters, other characters that they created do tend to get left in the shadows, which does kind of suck. But that does attribute to why there are a lot of people who have this misconception of Sakura being a really weak character, even though she's only weak compared to her other teammates when it comes to Team 7. But anyway, guys, that's going to be the video. If you liked it, remember to leave a like, share the video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, especially subscribe in order to help me get to 1,000 subs before the end of the year. Now, as of the recording of this video, I should have 490 subs, and if it hasn't hit 500 subs by the time this video comes out, please hit the subscribe button. Help me get to 500 subs. But if it has passed 500 subs by the time this video comes out, guys, please consider clicking on the subscribe button to help me get to 1,000 before the end of the year. So with that being said, thank you so much again. And and before I forget, leave a comment in the comment section to let me know your thoughts. With that being said, thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed the vid. Look forward to the next one. Bye for now.